Hey guys, it's Heather here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the Town Hall 8 Hybrid Go Va Ho. Now, just some slight changes, but some really important changes from my previous Town Hall 8 tutorial, the Go Va Lo, where we took balloons, but in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the hogs. So I highly recommend that you watch that other video, the Go Va Lo. I'm going to try not to cover any of the same things, so if you watch both of those videos, you're going to be killing it with Valkyrie. So basic army composition for Town Hall 8 Go Va Ho is taking 3 Max Valkyrie in the clan castle. If you can't get Max Valkyrie, then you're probably better off getting Max Hogs. Those might be easier to get, and then just taking more of your own Valks. But really for this attack, you should be taking 3 Max Valkyrie. You're going to want 2 Golems to be able to create that funnel for you. Probably around 8 to 9 Wizards. Just 2 of your own Valk. I probably suggested taking way too many Valks in the previous Go Va Lo tutorial. You probably want to trim that down and probably just taking more like 2 to 3 of your own Valks on an attack like this, so you have 5 to 6 of them, especially on this Go Va Ho where the hogs are going to be doing a lot more work for you. And then you're going to want 16 hogs. Level 4 hogs are awesome. Then along with that, you're going to want some kind of troop to lure the clan castle, and then wizards and barbs to be able to clear the clan castle with. You're going to have to take this out old school style because you won't have a poison on this attack typically, because that means you're going to be taking 4 earthquake. That means you're going to have 1 donated to you, plus build 3, and then 2 heal spells. So probably the biggest difference that you'll see in the Go Va Ho versus the Go Va Lo is your kill squad isn't as beefy in the Go Va Ho. You're going to be bringing a lot more back end troops, a lot more of those hogs than you would the balloons. And that's because when you're sending in balloons, you're going to have to clear all 3 air defenses. If you're sending in hogs, you're typically just going to need to clear the double giant bomb spot, and then you're good to go. And because of that, you're going to want to use your spells for the part of your army that's the biggest. So if you can use your heal spells on your hogs, that's the way to go. But if you can get much further into the base and keep those Valks alive and have them do a lot more damage, you probably do want to drop a heal spell on them in the core and just have them go that much further so there's, that much less work for your hogs to do. Now, one thing that I hate to do, but typically always you need to do this, is bring those 2 golems, and that's going to help you create a wide enough funnel so that you can get your Valkyrie into the center. You can funnel them in where they need to go. If you don't have a lot of outside buildings, maybe you can get away with just 1 golem, but typically you're going to have to use the 2 golems with the line of wizards behind and be able to clear out all those buildings so you can get your Valkyrie into the center. You know what also helps having the 2 golems is the Valkyrie tend to run ahead. They pass up the golems, and once they do that, they can start getting hit by a lot of those point defensive buildings. So it is really good to be able to have 2 golems there to be able to take the hits for your Valkyrie as they get into the center of the base. And if you have those 2 golems, there is a high chance that you could get away with not having to use a hill on your Valkyrie, and you can save both hills for your hogs. Now, the other positive thing about the Go Va Ho versus using the Lo, the balloons on the back end, is the hog attack can start much earlier. Once that double giant bomb spot is triggered, you can go ahead and start sending your hogs in. And typically how you're going to want to send those hogs in is not so much surgical as you're going to be doing 1 full side, and so then they start to move together because you don't have your full hog army, so you don't want to split them up too much. And typically the Valkyrie aren't far enough into the base that they're taking the hits from everywhere, so your hogs are going to get fired on. So it kind of helps to not split them up too much, and that way they're also going to benefit the most from that second heal. So the hogs are going to move in, starts to take down the defenses on the first side, and then start to go around the base. And just watch those hogs, watch their health, see where they can benefit the most from the heal. Kind of plan that out. If they're going to be in dangerous spots where they're all going to bunch up and get fired on by wizard towers, that's probably a good place to use a heal. Again, if you can manage to use both heals on your hogs, then they're going to go that much further, and the more hogs you have alive at the end, the faster you're going to be able to clean up the base. Another great thing about about using the Valkyrie is they just eat up those skeleton traps. So that also helps so you don't have those skeletons chasing down your hogs, which can be a huge pain. And one thing you want to look at too as you're sending out your hogs is you want to target the cannons and the archer towers as soon as possible, and the Teslas, because those point defenses are the ones that are doing the most damage. You need to worry about the wizard towers and the mortars more when troops get bunched up together. Now back to spells. 90% of the time, just like in the Govalo, you're going to need to use 4 Earthquake to be able to open up the base. If you have to go through 2 layers of walls, it's definitely best to use 2 Earthquake. If you only need to go through 1 layer of wall for some reason, then you can go ahead and do that with wall breakers, and that will allow you to take 3 heals plus be able to have poisons to use against the clan castle. So pretty simple steps that you need to do on this Govaho. Number 1, you're going to pull the clan castle and kill the clan castle. 2, you're going to drop your 2 golems followed by your wizards and start to create that funnel. At some point along the way, when you have some downtime, drop those 4 Earthquake and open the base up. Once the funnelers have created that opening for your Valkyrie and your Barbarian King and any follow-up wizards to go through, what you're going to want to do is drop one of your Valkyrie, one of your very own, not your clan castle. Make sure that Valkyrie heads exactly where you wanted to go, and then immediately drop the other Valkyrie. Now I'm laying this out in steps, but that doesn't mean drop step 1 and then wait a while and then drop step 2. It's no, drop step 1 the moment that you do, you're dropping step 2, because now they are safe, they can create the funnel. Once the funnel's done, you drop the 3rd step with the Valkyrie, so it's boom, boom, boom. Don't hold and wait, because the longer you're waiting, the more troops are dying. If you wait too long, then your funnel will disappear and your Valkyrie will not go into the center because they will find buildings on the outside that are closer to them. So your funnel is just like this little trickle that's working its way, and the longer you let that funnel sit there, the more the floodgates are going to open and that funnel is going to be destroyed, and you will have no possible way of getting your Valkyrie into the center where they need to go. So there, you got it. Your Valkyrie are headed into the center. See how they're doing. See if you need to drop a heal spell on them. I like to drop a heal spell on my core troops and keep them healed up. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you get those giant bombs taken care of and you're going to save it for the hogs. Once those giant bombs are taken care of and you feel safe, you're going to start sending in your hogs against one side. Remember, you're targeting those buildings that do the most damage, and you're sending your hogs. Just a hog deployment. You know how to do this. Send the hogs in. They're going to take out the defensive buildings. Use a heal spell where it's going to benefit them the most, and then you got this. All the defenses are down. You got cleanup troops. Clean up the base. 4x the replay. That's it. Base is done. So yes, pretty simple attack. Pretty dang cool looking attack, but more importantly, it's giving you the tools and other options for when you go to harder bases to be able to come up with 3-star recipes for that base. I kind of wanted to talk about the pros and cons of a Govaho versus a Govalo, and then versus just a regular Go-Ho. Now before we even go there, let's just take it back one step further and let's start talking about the recipe for 3-star attacking. Now maybe things aren't as complex at Town Hall 8 and you start seeing these Valkyries attacks and think, I could probably take that base out with a much simpler attack. I could probably just surgical hog that. You know, maybe I could just do a basic Go-Ho and just do the same. I don't even need to use my Valkyrie. But the problem is, if you're not doing these kind of attacks at Town Hall 8, when you go to Town Hall 9 and you actually start facing difficult bases where you're facing 2 double giant bomb spots, you're going to have to be a lot more inventive with the way that you're attacking, and you're going to have to start looking at the bases and determining how you're going to take out each piece of the base. And you may find yourself doing multiple types of hybrids where you're doing like a Queen Walk as part of it, and then you're doing a Go-Ho as part of it, and then you're bringing some Valkyries in one, and then maybe even there's one section where you have some balloons, and you're dissecting that entire base and coming up with your magic recipe to 3-star that base. And that's why I think it's really important at Town Hall 8 to use all the tools you've been given and start to get a feel for Valkyrie, because once you have those level 4 Valkyrie at Town Hall 9, they become incredibly important when you're taking on anti-3-star bases. So your basic 3-star recipe is going to be the following. You're going to start with your Clan Castle Killers, followed by the Tankers, followed by the Funnelers, followed by the Disabled disablers, and finally the heat seekers that then also become the final cleaners. So let me break that down a little bit further and explain what those are. Clan Castle killers, pull the clan castle and kill it. Your tankers, typically your golems, are going to be out in front taking a lot of the heat, and following them up with the funnelers, typically going to be your wizards who can take down buildings fast, clean out exactly what buildings you want, so you can then get your disablers, typically your heroes, along with other troops that are capable of clearing a lot of buildings and traps and being able to take care of whatever is going to be vulnerable to your final heat seekers, which are going to be your defensive targeting troops like hogs or balloons on the back end. And then hopefully you have enough of your kill squad of that original funneler and disablers along with your heat seekers to clean up the rest of the base. So basic 3-star recipe. Learn that, know that, do it, and then that's when you find the ways to break it, to try new things and to mix things up and figure out other ways that you can use to 3-star that really unique, tough to 3-star base. So let's get back to where I started with all of this. The pros and cons of using Valkyrie versus not using Valkyrie. And to determine whether or not you should be using Valkyrie, you need to look at the base and remember some key things with Valkyrie. They like wide open spaces. So if you can open up the base and be able to get your Valkyrie into the center of the base and they're not going to be hitting on any walls, and you're going to be able to have your Valkyrie kind of locked in everywhere where you want them to be. The Valkyrie are going to be locked in the center where those vulnerabilities are, whether that is air defense, whether that is double giant bomb spots, or whatever may be the most vulnerable to the back end of your attack, your Valkyrie can easily get to it. If that is not the case, if you are facing a base with a lot of compartments, some kind of weird offset places for double giant bombs, Valkyrie probably aren't the best way to go. But if you have that open layout where there is multiple spots in the center where there could be double giant bombs, then Valkyrie are probably going to do a much better job than just a regular go-ho where you don't have the Valkyrie that can get into the center and disable a lot of those double giant bomb areas. So just some really quick tips about determining just how far you can take those Valkyrie. You know, is it going to be better for your wizards to be able to shoot over walls and take out buildings and places where double giant bombs could be, so it's going to be better for you to have more wizards in your go-ho part? Or is it going to be more beneficial to you to be able to have those high hit point Valkyries that can take down skeleton traps really easily, can take down multiple buildings, that just rip through a barbarian king? What's going to be the best option for the base? So remember, it's always the base that's going to determine the way you need to attack. So when looking at the base, and you see that it's primed for Valkyrie, that you can get them into the center and be able to disable things that are in the center, what you need to look for is, are the things in the center that the Valkyrie are going to be disabling, are they vulnerable to hogs or are they vulnerable to balloons? So if you look at the center of the base and all the air defenses are compact in the center of the base by, the clan castle and town hall and everything, then this base is probably best for a go-va low and sending in balloons, because your Valkyrie could be able to take out those air defenses. However, if you look at the base and the air defenses are kind of set off in different areas and maybe in their own compartments, then this isn't a good base to send balloons in on the back end. If the air defenses are not going to be easily reached for the Valkyrie, then this is a go-va-ho base. Now, something to keep in mind where the balloons have a leg up on the Hog Riders is the balloons aren't going to be affected by cannons and mortars, so that's really nice. If the Valkyrie take out the air defense, they've essentially also disabled 2 other defenses for the balloons. And if you're sending in hogs, they're definitely going to be hit by cannons and mortars. So that's kind of where you have the pros and cons versus the hogs and the balloons on the back end. So look at the base and see what's going to be your best option for that. And something that also comes up that can really affect balloons is the air skeletons. They're only going to be taken out by wizards. And so if a base happens to have their traps set to air, which you typically don't find very much, but sometimes you do with these open concept bases, you're going to find that they've set it to air to try and protect themselves against dragon attacks. They can be really hard on your balloons. Also, surprise Teslas on the outside, they can be bad for balloons too. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or download the Bindle app by going to classtutor.com/Bindle and then join the room, #ClashTutor. Lots of cool people in there who are more than happy to help you with this attack. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook for the latest updates, and I'll catch you next time.